Shabbat Shalom, guys. Once again, we have so much to cover tonight, so let's just go ahead and pray and let's just get into this. Yahuah, thank you for gathering us here today. Thank you for allowing us to be able to share your truth. Yahuah, I pray that you guide this study today in your spirit and truth. And we come before you humble and repentant, and we ask that you bring us back to you, Abba. Make us new again. Bring us back to glory. And we pray for your strength to get through the tribulations that we may face and to hold us steadfast in your word. Sanctify your people, Yahuah, and remember your covenant. We praise your name, Elohim of our salvation. Yahuah Sevaoth is his name. Hallelujah. In Yahusha's name we pray. Amen. All right. Shabbat Shalom, guys. Welcome to Torah Truth Fellowship of Yahusha. I am your host, Brianna, and this is part 14 of Isaiah's message for the Remnant series. Last week we covered chapters 62 and 63, which discussed Yahuah's coming salvation, Yahuah's mercy being remembered, and his Kodashim, his set-apart people, praying and crying out for his mercy. And this week we're going to kind of be breaking things up a little bit, just so it's not so long, mostly for time's sake. Give me just a moment, you guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. So this week, for time's sake, we're going to kind of be breaking things up just so it's not as long. So we're going to be covering chapters 64 and 65 this week, but for time's sake, we're only going to be going to line 15 in chapter 65, and we will resume the rest of chapter 65 next week in the series finale. As some of you know, next week is going to be my last week for about a month or so, maybe a little bit longer than a month. I'm taking a brief sabbatical. So, if you have not already, go and find my Facebook group. It is under the same name as my ministry, and go join. And this is where you will find me while I am on my break. I will use this time to turn my group into more of a learning tool, which is what I've been wanting to do for some time. I haven't had the time. I'm too busy, guys. Where was I at? So, I'm taking this break because I feel that Abba, Yahuah, is calling me to spend more time with him and to just take a break from things for a little bit. So I'm going to answer the Most High's call. Between my son being in school and having to dedicate my time to studying and writing up my messages every week, and then being a wife and mother in between all of that, it's just been getting a little overwhelming lately. So I'm going to take a little break, step back for a little bit, and just kind of take some time to spend with Abba. I don't feel like I've been reading my Bible as much as I should, and I'm going to spend some time with my family and just regroup. So, and I will be back. Don't worry, guys, I will be back. This is not farewell. This is just see you guys in a little bit. So, but anyways, with all of that said, let's go ahead and begin our study. So we're beginning in Isaiah chapter 64, lines 1 through 3. Isaiah 64, 1 through 3. Oh, that you would rend the heavens, that you would come down, that the mountains might flow at your presence. As when the melting fire burns, the fire causes the waters to boil. Nations may tremble at your to boil, to make your name known to your adversaries, that the nations may tremble at your presence. When you did terrible things, which we looked not for, you came down, and the mountains flowed at your presence. So, we're going to go over lines 1 through 3 together. Okay, we're not going to go over them separately how we usually do. We're going to go through them together because they kind of just knit together. So, I want to talk about the part, though, where it says that the mountains might flow down at your presence. As when melting fire causes the water to boil, to make your name known to your adversaries, and the nations may tremble at your presence. We're going to talk about that little bit right there. And once again, as we did last week, we're going to pull from the first book of prophecy, which is the book of Enoch. So Enoch, chapter 1, lines 1 through 8, says, "The word of the blessing of Enoch, how he blessed the elect and the righteous, who were to exist in the time of trouble, the time of Jacob's trouble, rejecting all the unrighteous and wicked. Enoch, a righteous man, who with Elohim answered and spoke while his eyes were open, and he saw a holy vision in the heavens. This the angels showed me. From them I heard all things, and understood what I saw. that which will not take place in this generation. So Enoch is saying this will not take place in his generation, but in a generation which is to succeed at a distant period, on account of the elect. Upon their account I spoke and conversed with him, who will go forth from his habitation, the holy and mighty one, the Elohim of the world, who will hereafter tread upon Mount Sinai, appear with his hosts, and be manifested in the strength of his power from heaven. All shall be afraid, and the watchers be terrified. Great fear and trembling shall seize them, even to the ends of the earth. The lofty mountains shall be troubled, and the exalted hills depressed, melting like a honeycomb in the flame. The earth shall be immerged, and all things which are in it perish, while judgment shall come upon all, even upon all the righteous. But to them, the righteous, but to them shall he give peace. He shall guard the elect, and towards them exercise clemency. Then shall all belong to Yahuah. Be happy and blessed, and the splendor of Yahuah shall illuminate you. So, Enoch said that everything that he heard and saw will not take place in the generation that he was living in, but in a distant generation, one that was far off, the end times generation. And he says that all will be afraid, that the great fear and trembling would seize them, and the lofty mountains will be troubled, and the exalted hills will melt like a honeycomb in the fire, and judgment shall come upon the whole earth, even the righteous. But to them he will have mercy. He will guard his elect, and he will show them clemency. They belong to Yahuah, and they will be happy and blessed, and Yahuah will illuminate them. So let's talk some more about that day. Let's get a little deeper. 2 Peter 3, lines 10 through 18. But the day of Yahuah will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all purity of conversation and holiness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahuah, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a renewed heavens and a renewed earth, wherein dwells righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless, and account that the long suffering of Yahuah is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, has written unto you, is also in all his Sepharim, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable pervert, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing that you know these things before, beware lest you also be led away with the error of the lawless, fall from your own steadfastness, but grow in grace and in the knowledge of our Adonai and Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach, and of Yahuah the Father. To him be the glory both now and forever. Amen. So, it says, the day of Yahuah will come as a thief in the night, for those who are not waiting on him and expecting his return. Blessed is the servant who is found working when his Adonai come, and cursed is the servant who became lazy and quit his work, and told his Adonai, you delay your coming. He is the one who is taken, and the working man is left behind. This is the parable of the one taken and the one left behind. The one that was left behind, he was blessed, because he was still working when his Adonai came to him. But the one that was taken away, he got lazy and he quit doing his work, and he was like, hey, why'd you take so long? You took forever. I got tired of doing this crap. I'm done. I'm not working no more. And he was taken away. And the one that was left behind was blessed, and he got to continue in his field, and his field increased in fruit. Okay, where was I? So, and this is also me briefly and probably badly paraphrasing, but, you can find the prophecy of the one that is taken and the one that is left behind in the book of Matthew. So the heaven and earth shall pass away with fervent heat, and the works that are in the earth will be burned up. Iniquity will be consumed in the fire. And those who are heirs according to the promise, they look for a renewed heavens and a renewed earth where righteousness dwells. The new Jerusalem. If you look for such things, then be diligent to be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless, to be found without sin. The long-suffering of Yahuah is salvation, and he has endured, brothers and sisters, for centuries and centuries. He has endured watching his children go crazy and kill each other and hate each other. But he has suffered in hopes that more people would repent and come back to him. His wish is that no man dies. But because we have free will and we are not robots, we get to choose our paths, mostly. Yahuah also chooses our paths as well, and we'll talk about that in a bit. We're not going to get to that just yet. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But it says, even according to our brother Paul, who wisdom was given to. And this is the warning that we are given, that many are going to misunderstand Paul's writings and use it for their own destruction. In all his sephers, he speaks of these things, and some things are hard to understand. And Paul did that on purpose. Paul was a really educated man. He was very smart, and he tended to kind of talk above people's intelligence, but he did it on purpose. It was not to, I don't know how to say it. It wasn't because he was like trying to make people feel stupid. There we go. It wasn't because he was trying to make people feel dumb. He spoke above people's intelligence because you're not going to understand him if you don't have knowledge of the truth. So, and what is the truth? Psalms 119, 142, your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your law, your Torah, is the truth. Okay. So, and it says that those who are unlearned and unstable, they will pervert, as they do the other scriptures, to their own destruction. But you, beloved, seeing as you are learned, beware, unless you be led away with the error of lawlessness too. Grow in grace and in knowledge of our brother, Yahushua HaMashiach, and of Yahuah the Father. To him is the glory, now and forever. And now, really quick, I want to establish as well, what does it mean to be learned or unlearned? And actually, give me just a moment. I'm going to come back to this. I need to download something really quickly so I can pull it up later when I need it. Give me just a moment, you guys. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and get this downloading while we read, because I'm going to need it pretty soon. So, get that going. Okay. Back to where we were. Okay. So what does it mean to be learned or to be unlearned? Well, I could really go on and on about this one, but I'm just going to leave you with just this one verse. Proverbs 4, lines 1 through 5. It says, "Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my Torah, my law." As we all know, Torah in Hebrew, it means law or instruction. The Torah is the law. "For I was my father's son, tender, and only Yahid." Yahid is beloved, his beloved son, in the sight of my mother. "He taught me also, and said unto me, Let your heart retain my words. Guard my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth." And then Micah 1, 3 through 9. "For behold," this is back to the day of Yahuah. "For behold, Yahuah comes forth out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth, and the mountains shall be molten under him, and the valleys shall be cleft as wax before the fire, and as the waters that are poured down a steep place. For the transgression of Yaakov is all this, and for the sins of the house of Yasharel. What is the transgression of Yaakov? Is it not Shamaron? And what are the high places of Yehuda? Are they not Yerushalayim? Therefore I will make Shamaron as a heap of the field, and as plantings of a vineyard, and I will pour down the stones thereof into a valley, and I will discover the foundations thereof, and all graven images thereof shall be beaten to pieces, and all the hires thereof shall be burned with the fire, and all the idols thereof I will lay desolate. For she gathered it of the hire of a harlot, and they shall return to the hire of a harlot. Therefore I will wail and howl, I will go stripped and naked, I will make a wailing like the dragons, and mourning like the owls, for her wound is incurable, for it is come unto Yehudah, he is come unto the gate of my people, even to Jerusalem. So when we look at the end of Isaiah chapter 64, line 3, it says, when you did terrible things that we looked not for, you came down, and the mountains flowed at your presence. So, and then we see in Micah, it says, Yehudah comes forth out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of earth, Yahuah comes forth out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth, and the mountains shall be molten under him, and the valleys waxed in fire. The sins of Yasharel are this terrible, this grievous. He says the transgression of Yaakov is Shamaron, which is Sumeria. And what are the high places of Judah? Are they not Jerusalem? So the high places are Sumeria, the northern kingdom of Yaakov, or Ephraim, and in the southern kingdom of Judah, the high places are Jerusalem. Yahuah will make Shamaron as a heap, and the stones will be poured down. And I want to say the high places is where the children would go to make, they would go up to the mountains. They had temples up there for their false Elohim, and they would go up there and they would make sacrifices and burn incense to Baal, to Satan, and then they would come back down from their high places in the mountains, and then they would go into the temple of Yahuah, and they would make a sin sacrifice, and they'd be like, oh, it's fine, whatever, it's cool, I'm forgiven, and now I'm just going to go back out and sin again. So, kind of similar to Christianity. Oh, Messiah kept the law for me, I don't have to keep it, I can just sin until I die, and I'll be forgiven once I'm dead. That's not how it works. That is so dangerous. That is so dangerous, guys. So dangerous. Anyways, it says, and the stones will be poured down there, and stones will be poured down there out of the sky, brimstone, and all the graven images beaten and broken to pieces, and the idols will lay desolate. It was gathered to the hire of a harlot, and it will return to the hire of a harlot. Basically, he's saying that you're making your bed, and you're going to have to lie in it one day. And this is Micah. He's lamenting. He's saying, I will wail and I will howl for them like a dragon, mourning as the owls. Her wound is incurable, and it has come into Judah. It has come to the gate of my people, even Jerusalem. Psalms 144, 1 through 15. Blessed be Yahuah, my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight, my goodness and my fortress, my high tower and my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust, who subdues my people under me. Yahuah, what is the man that you take knowledge of him, or the son of man that you make account of him? Man is like to vanity. His days are as a shadow that passes away. Bow your heavens, O Yahuah, and come down. Touch the mountains, and they shall smoke. Cast forth lightning and scatter them. Shoot out your arrows and destroy them. Send your hand from above. Rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaks vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. I will sing a new song unto you, O Elohim. Upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto you. It is he that gives salvation unto kings, who delivers David his servant from the hurtful sword. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, in whose mouth speaks vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. That our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, and that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace. That our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our streets, that our oxen may be strong to labor, that there be no breaking in nor going out, that there be no complaining in our streets. Happy is that people, that it is in such a case, yea, happy is that people whose Elohim is Yahuah. So I want to talk about line 6 really quick in what we just read in Psalms 144. We're going to talk about line 6 where it says, cast forth lightning and scatter them. Shoot out your arrows and destroy them. So let's talk about this lightning really quick. Isaiah 41, 8 through 16. But you, Yasharel, are my servant, Yaakov, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. You, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called you from the chief men thereof, and said unto you, you are my servant, I have chosen you, and cast you not away. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you. Yea, I will help you. Yea, I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. Yahusha. Behold, all they that were incensed against you shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with you shall perish. You shall seek them, and shall not find them. Even them that contend with you, they that war against you shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught. For I, Yahuah Elohika, will hold your right hand, saying unto you, fear not, I will help you. Fear not, you worm, Yaakov, and ye men of Yasharel, I will help you, says Yahuah, and your Redeemer, the Holy One of Yasharel. Behold, I will make you a new sharp threshing instrument, having teeth. You shall thresh the mountains, and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. You shall fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And you shall rejoice in Yahuah, and shall glory in the Holy One of Yasharel. So, for those who think that Yahuah is not a man of war, we're going to see that he most certainly is tonight. And there is definitely going to be a war at the end. But don't worry, we're going to talk about his goodness too, because just as he is a man of war, he is also a wonderful and such a good Elohim to serve. So let's keep reading about this day though. Psalms 46, 1 through 11. Elohim is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will we not fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake and with the swelling thereof. Selah. There is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of Elohim, the holy place of the tabernacles of El Elyon. Elohim is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. Elohim shall help her. And that right early, the heathen raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, and the earth melted. Yahuah Sevaoth is with us. The Elohai of Yaakov is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of Yahuah, what desolation he has made in the earth. He makes wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaks the bow, he cuts the spear in sunder, he burns the chariot in fire. Be still, and know that I am Elohim. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Yahuah Sevaoth is with us. The Elohai of Yaakov is our refuge. Selah. Yah is our refuge and our strength. Call on him, brothers and sisters. Call on him. He will help you. And this is pertaining to the land over there, I want to say, in the Middle East being laid waste. What was once the physical, tangible promised land that Joshua led the people into. And then his holy tabernacle will descend. And I personally think that it is going to descend right over the top of that land after it is laid waste. The heathen raged against his people, and the kingdoms were moved. Yahuah uttered his voice, and the earth melted. Behold the works of Yahuah, and the desolations that he has made in the earth. Then he seizes the war. Enough. He breaks the bow, and he cuts the spear, and he burns the chariot in fire. Be still, and know that Yahuah is Elohim, and he will be exalted in front of the heathen and the entire earth. Yahuah is with us. The Elohai of Yaakov, Jacob, is our refuge. What we read next, we can make connections to the Song of Moshe, as we talked about last week. We talked a lot last week about the Song of Moshe, or Moses, and if you didn't catch that, I suggest going and watching my video last week. And if you're not sure where to find the Song of Moshe, maybe you're new to the Bible or just new to this in general, you can find the Song of Moses in Exodus chapter 15. Okay. So, but this one I'm about to read to you next, we can make a lot of connections to the Song of Moshe in this bit that I'm going to read next. We're going to read all of Psalms 18. I will love you, O Yahuah, my strength. Yahuah is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my El, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my Yeshua, my high tower. I will call upon Yahuah, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of the wicked men made me afraid. The sorrows of Sheol compassed me about, and the snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon Yahuah, and cried unto my Elohim. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth. Then went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a keruv. And a keruv, I'm almost positive, I have to check, but I'm almost positive a keruv or a cheruvim is a class of angels, because as we know, the angels have different classes. A cheruvim is a class of angels. And he rode upon a keruv, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. His sukkah round about him were dark waters, with thick clouds of the skies. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yahuah also thundered in the heavens, and El Elyon gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Yea, he sent out his arrows, and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings, and discomfited them. Then the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered at your rebuke. O Yahuah, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils. There's one reference. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity. But Yahuah was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me, because he delighted in me. Yahuah rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands. He has recompensed me. For I have guarded the ways of Yahuah, and have not wickedly departed from my Elohim. For all his judgments were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was also upright before him, and guarded myself from iniquity. Therefore has Yahuah recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands, and in his eyesight. With the merciful you will show yourself merciful. With an upright man you will show yourself upright. With the pure you will show yourself pure. And with the froward you will show yourself froward. And I want to make clear too, that froward is not a good thing. It's not a good thing to be froward. Froward is like being puffed up and like egotistical. So being froward is not good. For you will save the afflicted people, but will bring down high looks. For you will light my candle. Yahuah Elohai will enlighten my darkness. For by you I have run through a troop, and by my Elohim have I leaped over a wall. As for El, his way is perfect. The word of Yahuah is tried. He is a buckler to all those who trust in him. For who is Elohah save Yahuah? Or who is a rock save our Elohim? Is it El that girds me with strength and makes my way perfect? He makes my feet like hinds' feet, and sets me up upon my high places. He teaches my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken in my arms. You have also given me the shield of your salvation, and your right hand has held me up, and your gentleness has made me great. You have enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies, and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet, for you have girded me with the strength unto the battle, and you have subdued under me those that rose up against me. You have also given me the necks of my enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even to Yahuah, but he answered them not. Then I did beat them small as the dust before the wind, and I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. You have delivered me from the strivings of the people, and you have made me the head of the heathen. A people whom I have not known shall serve me, and as soon as they hear of me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. The strangers shall fade away and be afraid out of their close places. Yahuah lives, and blessed be my rock, and let the Elohim of my Yeshua be exalted. It is El that avenges me, and subdues the people under me. He delivers me from my enemies. Yea, you will lift me up above those that rise against me. You have delivered me from the violent man. Therefore will I give thanks unto you, O Yahuah, among the heathen, and sing praises unto your name. Great deliverance gives he to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore. Now, I want to make a reference with lines 12 and 13, which say, at the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yahuah has also thundered in the heavens, and El Elyon gave his voice. Hailstones and coals of fire. Yea, he sent out arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings and discomfited them. Which discomfited means like discombobulated. It's confusing. They're confused. And I want to compare what we just read to Revelation 16, lines 17 through 21. So then the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babel came into remembrance before Elohim, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon man a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And man blasphemed Elohim because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. So, the 7th vial, the final plague, the last trumpet, war and salvation. There were voices and thunder and lightning, and then there was an earthquake, one so great that the earth had never seen anything like it before. The nations fell, and then Babylon, came into remembrance before him, who he gave the cup of the fierceness of his wrath. And the islands and the mountains are wiped away, and hailstones rain from heaven. And this plague is a really horrible one. The hailstones are brimstone. Zechariah 9:13 through 14. When I have bent Yehudah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up your sons, O Sion, against your sons, O Yavan, and made you as the sword of a mighty man, and Yahuah shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning. And Adonai Yahuah shall blow the shofar, and shall go with the whirlwinds of the south. This is the 2 sticks prophecy. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in this video, but it's the 2 sticks becoming one, the 2 houses, Ephraim or Jacob, and Judah. So we'll see Ephraim and Judah coming together to be one house, which hasn't happened yet. As we can see, there's still a lot of striving going on amongst our people. All right, Revelation 6, lines 12 through 17. And I beheld, when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? So next we're going to talk a little bit about his army. This passage in Revelation leads us to... What? Okay, now this passage in Revelation leads us to Joel, and Joel actually does a good job about speaking on Yahuah's army. Joel 2, 1 through 11. Blow ye the shofar in Sion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahuah comes, for it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There has not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devours before them, and a flame burns. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devours the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array, before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall, and they shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And Yahuah shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executes his word. For the day of Yahuah is great and very terrible. Who can abide it? And I wanted to see, hold on.
It's just us trying over and over again.
Okay, now we are on to 1 Thessalonians 5, line 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So a lot of people like to misuse this verse, especially to prove that these prophecies aren't true, that the Bible is just a bunch of stories that are made up. So, because they've been calling for peace for years now, and the earth is still standing, that's their argument about it. But while they've said peace, there's been no action. They've been calling for peace for years, but what action have they took to implement peace, truly? None. They haven't taken any. So, I personally and honestly think that 2020 was a test run to see how well that kind of implementation would work on the people. And to their advantage, it worked pretty well. For most people. There was people like me who from the very beginning thought it was a bunch of garbage, but the majority of the world watches the news and they believe everything that they see on the TV, so yeah. Okay, so when you hear this call being made and there's finally action being taken behind it, just know that their destruction is coming very soon. And some people will also like to say, well, what about Amos chapter 5? Well, let's take a look at Amos chapter 5. It says, hear ye this word, which I take up against you, even a lamentation. O house of Yasharel, the virgin of Yasharel is fallen, which was Yehudah. She shall no more rise. She is forsaken upon her land. There is none to raise her up. For thus says Adonai Yahuah, the city that went out by 1,000 shall leave 100. Oh, hold on, guys, excuse me. Oh, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, yeah. For the city went out by 1,000 shall leave 100, and that which went forth by 100 shall leave 10 to the house of Yasharel. For thus says Yahuah unto the house of Yasharel, seek me, seek Yahuah, and you shall live, but seek not Beit El, which is Bethel, nor enter into Gilgal, and pass not to Beersheba. For Gilgal shall surely go into captivity, and Beit El shall come to naught, to nothing. Seek Yahuah, and ye shall live, lest he break out like fire in the house of Yosef, and devour it, and there be none to quench it in Bethel. Ye who turn judgment to wormwood, and leave off righteousness in the earth, seek him that makes the 7 stars, and Orion, and turns the shadow. So, I want to say too, do you know what the 7 stars are? The 7-star constellation, which I actually and very unfortunately learned about when I was dabbling in witchcraft. I was really big into like the moon and the stars and everything, and I thought it was really interesting when I got into the scriptures and I saw the constellations actually being named. So the 7 stars, the constellation he's talking about, also known as the 7 sisters, is the constellation of Pleiades. The Pleiades constellation is the 7 stars, and then he mentions Orion directly by name. And turns the shadow of death into morning, and makes the day dark with night, that calls for the waters of the sea, and pours them out upon the face of the earth. Yahuah is his name, that strengthens the spoiled against the strong, so that the spoiled shall come against the fortress. They hate him that rebukes in the gate, and they abhor him that speaks uprightly. For as much therefore as your treading is upon the poor, and ye take from him burdens of wheat, ye have built houses of hewn stone, but ye shall not dwell in them. Ye have planted pleasant vineyards, but ye shall not drink wine of them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just, they take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor and the gate from their right. So hold on, before we move forward, I want to show you what Amos is quoting here really quickly. Let me show you. So he says right here, he says, "For as much therefore as your treading is upon the poor, and ye take from him burdens of wheat, you have built houses of hewn stone, but you shall not dwell in them. You have planted pleasant vineyards, but you shall not drink the wine of them." Give me just a moment. Let me show you where Amos got that from.
Mrs. Clark is anemic and glycogen positive, so there's definitely some internal bleeding, which looks like it's coming.
Let me show you.
The ampulla of Vader? Yes, thank you for that, Dr. Kepner.
Dr. Swindle told us the biopsy showed the cancer was back, but she said you might be able to take it out. There's a chance I won't be able to go in as deeply as I'll need to, but I promise to do everything I can. Anything you could do.
We appreciate it, Dr. Thank you.
So, Amos was quoting there Deuteronomy 28, line 30. Says, in Deuteronomy 28, line 30, says, "You shall betroth a woman, and another man shall lie with her. You shall build a house, and you shall not dwell therein. You shall plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof." And why is Yahuah telling Moshe to write these things down? Well, these are the curses. If we go back up a couple of lines to line...
Why can't you be nice like your brother?
Hold on. To line 15, if we go back up to Deuteronomy 28, line 15, the reason that this happens to them is right here. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahuah Eloheka, to guard, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you." Okay, back to the study. All right, where was I? So it says, "Therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, that ye may live. And so Yahuah, the Elohai Sevaoth, shall be with you, as ye have spoken. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that Yahuah Elohai Sevaoth will be gracious unto the remnant of Yosef. Therefore Adonai, the Elohai Sevaoth, Adonai says thus, wailing shall be in the streets, and they shall say in all the highways, Alas, alas, and they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing. And all the vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through you, says Yahuah. Woe unto you. This is where they try to say, like, why would you want to wait for the day of Yahuah? And it says right here, woe unto you that desire the day of Yahuah. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahuah is darkness and not light, as if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house, and and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of Yahuah be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? I despise your feast days, and I will not smell your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me ascending smoke offerings and your oblations, I will not accept them, neither will I regard peace offerings or your fat beasts. Take away from me the noise of your songs, for I will not hear the melody of your viols. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Have ye offered unto me the sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Yasharel? But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch. Moloch is a demon. And your Kayun, your images, the star of your Elohim, which ye made to yourselves. And we're going to get to that star in a little bit, and I'm going to show you in a little bit what that star looks like too. So keep listening. And it says, the star of your Elohim, which you made to yourselves. Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, says Yahuah, whose name is the Elohai Sebaoth. So this is Amos prophesying to the children. He's telling them that the Virgin of Israel is fallen, and she will not rise up again. Speaking of Judah, Judah was the Virgin of Israel, and they went into captivity. The city shall leave by 1,000, and only 100 will return, and leave 100, and only 10 will return. The children will begin falling away. This was the beginning of the great falling away. Those who seek Yahuah shall live. Don't seek Beit El or Gilgal or the high places. Yahuah is going to lay them desolate. Like, so many people are so preoccupied with going to Jerusalem right now and going to the Holy Land. Let me tell you something. There's nothing holy about that land right now. Nothing. The people over there are sinners. They're all sinners. They deny the Messiah, and wait until I tell you what they think about our Messiah. We're going to talk about that a little bit later too. Wait until you hear what the people over in that land think about our Savior. It's pretty disgusting. Where was I? And really quick, I want to talk about the great falling away that must happen. So, has this already happened, or is this an event that we're still waiting to come? Well, let's get a definition of what falling away means. So, Strong's Greek, number 3895, is parapito. Parapito. Yeah, parapito is the word. And it is a verb, an action. It means to fall into, or away, to fail, to fall back into the, and it's funny that it mentions this. It says into the, I copied this straight from Strong's dictionary, into the unbelieving and godless ways of the old time. To defect, it also means fallen from a close position. Refers to a close follower of Messiah who becomes a defective. It suggests that this person, at least at one time, was a believer. Where was it?
Whatever. And so, Alex, he got shipped around a lot.
Right here, too. So it says to apostatize, to be apostate. Like the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is an apostate church. To fall away. And I also found it interesting that they included this as well. To fall beside a person or thing. To slip aside. Hence, to deviate from the right path. Turn aside. Wander. The equivalent to err in the scriptures. To fall away from the true faith and the worship of Jehovah. Or Yahuah as we know him. And similarly, it means the same thing in Hebrew. So, the falling away means falling to sin and apostasy. And is this not what the Catholic Church did? Did it not teach apostasy to the world when it rose to power? Is Rabbinic Judaism not apostate? They hold their man-made laws, the Babylonian Talmud, above the laws of Yahuah, making his laws to no effect. Then, the Catholic Church and her daughters have taught the world that they don't need the law. They have Messiah. They pray to angels, and they pray to Mary, and to saints, and to everyone but the Most High. They taught the world to celebrate pagan holidays, and to not even question where they came from. The great falling away is already happening, brothers and sisters, and it has been happening since Yahushua and the apostles departed this earth. The early church followed Messiah for a time, but eventually Rome took over and they killed everyone who would not conform to Catholicism. So back to Amos, it says, "Woe unto you who desire the day of Yahuah. To what end is it for you?" And this is where people say that we shouldn't hope for that day. But Amos wasn't talking to the righteous children here. He was talking to the double-minded, those who honor Yah with their lips, but then they went into the hills and they sacrificed to Baal. Or celebrated the Shabbat because it was something that they had to do, not something that they wanted to do, not something that they delighted in. They couldn't wait for the Shabbat to be over so they could go buy and sell again. Then they would come into his holy temple and honor him with their lips and act like they didn't just do all these wicked things earlier. So to those people, that is who Amos is talking to. To those people, woe to you. Why do you hope for this day? To what end is it for you? You think you inherit the promise for doing wicked works. That's not it. Or for being slothful and lazy. Absolutely not. This is why he said, "I despise your feast days and your solemn assemblies, and I will not accept your smoke offerings and oblations." He said, "You have borne the tabernacle of Moloch." And Moloch, you can Google it. Moloch is a demon. He works for Satan. Which for those of you, I just said that. And the star of your Elohim too. He said you made that for yourself. And we'll get to what that is in just a little bit. All right, one more before we move forward. 2 Esdras 2, lines 27 through 30. "Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness comes, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but you shall be merry and have abundance. The heathen shall envy you, but they shall not be able to do nothing against you, says Yahuah. My hand shall cover you, so that your children shall not see Sheol. Be joyful, O mother, with your children, for I will deliver you, says Yahuah." All right, moving forward, we are back on Isaiah. Now we're going to read lines 4 through 6. Isaiah 64, 4 through 6. "For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither has the eye seen, O Elohim, beside you, what he has prepared for him that waits for him. You meet him that rejoices and works righteousness, those that remember you in your ways. Behold, you are wroth, for we have sinned. In those is continuance, and we shall be saved. But we are all as an unclean thing, and our righteousness are as filthy rags. And we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities like the wind have taken us away." Line 4. So there's a couple things to talk about here. It says, "For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither has the eye seen, O Elohim, beside you, what he has prepared for him that waits for him." So, even back then, brothers and sisters, it was similar to how it is now. Obviously, I want to say that things have gotten progressively worse and worse as time goes on, and they will continue to do so until the end. But even back then, they weren't listening. They didn't listen to the prophets, they denied Messiah, and they added their own laws to the Torah. Laws that they hold in higher regards than Yahuah's laws. Now let's talk about what is prepared for those who wait on Yahuah. Let's talk about the goodness to those who truly love him. We've been talking about all the terrible things that's going to happen to the wicked on that day. Let's talk about his goodness too. Psalms 31, 19 through 24. Oh, how great is your goodness, which you have laid up for them that fear you, which you have wrought for them that trust in you before the sons of men. You shall hide them in the secret of your presence from the pride of man. You shall keep them secretly in a sukkah from the strife of tongues. Blessed be Yahuah, for he has showed me in his marvelous kindness in a strong city. And then we're going to see some references to the Song of Moshe again. Isaiah 25, 1 through 12. Yahuah Elohai, I will exalt you. I will praise your name, for you have done wonderful things. Your counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. For you have made of a city a heap, of a defense city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city. It shall never be built. Therefore the strong people glorify you. The city of the terrible nation shall fear you. For you have been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from a storm, a shadow from the heat. And when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall, you shall bring down the noise of strangers, as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with a shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible one shall be brought low, and in this mountain shall Yahuah Sabaoth make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wine on the lees, of fat things full of marrow, of wines in the lees refined. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death in victory, and Adonai Yahuah will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from all the earth. And for Yahuah has spoken it, and it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our Elohim. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is Yahuah. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his Yeshua. For in this mountain shall the hand of Yahuah rest, and Moab shall be trodden under him, even as straw is trodden down for the dunghill. And he shall spread forth his hands into the midst of them, as he that swims spreads forth his hands to swim, and he shall bring down their pride together with the spoils of their hands. And the fortress of the high fort of your walls shall he bring down, lay low, and bring to the ground, even to the dust. Isaiah 40:29-31. He gives power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young man shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon Yahuah shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Those who are weak, powerless, who don't have the strength, don't fear. Do not be scared. Yahuah will give you his. Even young men who were raised up in battle, taught to fight all their lives, will be faint and be weary. Those who wait on Yahuah renew their strength, and they will not be weary or faint. Psalm 62:1-12. Truly my soul waits upon Elohim. From him comes my Yeshua. He only is my rock and my Yeshua. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. As a bowing wall shall ye be, as a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. My soul, wait you only upon Elohim, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my Yeshua. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In Elohim is my Yeshua and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in Elohim. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. Elohim is a refuge for us. Selah. Surely men of a low degree are vanity, and men of a high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Elohim has spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongs unto Elohim. Also unto you, O Adonai, belong mercy, for you render to every man according to his work. Trust in him, brothers and sisters. Trust in him with all your heart, to lead and to instruct you and to give you knowledge and understanding. And most importantly, trust that his salvation is coming. Men of a low degree are vanity, those who are arrogant and egotistical. They are puffed up by their ego. And those of a high degree are liars. They stay in power by lie and deceit. Think of the leaders of this world, the church leaders who are a den of wolves mauling the sheep, the politicians who are corrupt, the corrupt corporations. Trust in Yahuah at all times and pour your heart out onto him. And I mean, really lay it all out there. Everything. All of your transgressions, even the transgressions of your parents, lay it all out there, because we know the generational curses that follow us. Every man will he render according to his works. John 16, lines 16-23. A little while, and ye shall not see me. and again a little while, and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. Then said some of his Talmudim among themselves, What is this that he says unto us? A little while, and ye shall not see me, and again a little while, and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. They said therefore, What is this that he says? A little while. We cannot tell what he says. Now Yahushua knew that they were desirous to ask him, and he said unto them, Do ye inquire among yourselves of that I said, A little while, and ye shall not see me, and again a little while, and ye shall see me? Amen, amen, I say unto you, that ye shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice, and ye shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow, because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembers no more the anguish, for joy that a man is born into the world. And ye now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man takes from you. And in that day ye shall ask me nothing. Amen, amen, I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. So, here Yahushua is talking about his return to earth, and they didn't understand what he said. So he asked them, Are you guys inquiring among yourselves what I mean? He said, For a little while you will weep and lament, but your sorrow will be turned to joy, as a woman travails with child when her hour is come. But soon her sorrow is turned to joy when she is delivered of the child. So, if you're watching and you're a mom, or maybe you're a dad who watched the mother of your child give birth, we all know it's excruciating. Absolutely excruciating. It's painful, it's exhausting, and at certain points you seriously think that you just can't do it anymore. They're just going to be stuck in there forever. You can't do it no more. You're ready to just completely give up. But do you give up? No, you just keep pushing. And even though you're screaming and you're crying, and you're gonna keep going to bring your child into this world. And as soon as your baby is placed into your arms, you forget everything that just happened seconds earlier. It just all goes away because you look at your baby and you couldn't imagine loving something more than them. It just all goes away. And that is what the day of salvation is going to be like for us, brothers and sisters. That same kind of joy that you felt holding your baby for the very first time is the same kind of joy we are going to be experiencing on that day. So whatever you may need in the meantime, be it strength or counsel or wisdom or safety, whatever it is, ask Yahuah in the name of Yahushua, and it shall be done. All right, on to line 5. So I don't even know if we're going to get to line 15 tonight, guys. In chapter 65, we're already at an hour, and we're not even halfway through this. You meet him that rejoices and works righteousness, those that remember you in your ways. Behold, you are wroth, for we have sinned, and in those is continuance, and we shall be saved. Those who remember your ways. We have all fallen short of glory, brothers and sisters, but through Messiah's blood we are allowed a continuance, and through that, if we truly repent and do the works, we shall be saved by his name's sake, Yahushua HaMashiach. 1 John 3, 1-7. Behold, what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Elohim. Therefore the world knows us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of Elohim, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that has this hope in him purifies himself, even as he is pure. Whosoever commits sin transgresses also the Torah, for sin is the transgression of the Torah. And ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abides in him sins not. Whosoever sins has not seen him, neither known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that does righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. So, we are the sons and daughters of Elohim, literally the sons and daughters. The world doesn't know us because it doesn't know him. It doesn't appear now what we will be, but we know that when he returns, when Yahushua returns, we will be like him, and we will see him in his glory and true form. And every man that hopes to attain this ought to purify himself, even as Messiah is pure. Whoever sins transgresses the Torah, for sin is the transgression of the Torah, which is why Yahushua was made manifest to take away our sins, for in him was no sin. Let no man deceive you, brothers and sisters, ever. Don't ever let them tell you it's not true. Whoever does righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. Psalms 119, 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth. Let's look at Hebrews 1:9. You have loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore Elohim, even your Elohim, has anointed you with the oil of gladness above your fellows. Yahuah loves righteousness and he hates iniquity. And we just established what righteousness is and truth. And Yahuah hates iniquity. And the Greek word used there is anomia. So let's go ahead and get a definition of anomia. It's Strong's Greek number 458, anomia. It means illegality, violation of law, or wickedness, iniquity, transgression of the law, unrighteousness, the condition of without law, because ignorant of it, because of violating of it, contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. So the definition, there you go, is lawlessness. The definition of iniquity is lawlessness, unrighteousness, because of either being ignorant to the law or directly violating it. All right, line 6, Isaiah 64:6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and our righteousness are as filthy rags, and we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities like the wind have taken us away. So Isaiah says that we are all as an unclean thing, and our righteousness is as filthy rags. But does it say anywhere that we are to stop striving for righteousness? No, never. Do you think Isaiah stopped striving for righteousness and perfection? Absolutely not. He trusted in the Most High with all of his heart. Let's get a better idea of what Isaiah is saying here. Isaiah 6:1-5. In that year, King Uzziah died. I saw also Adonai sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled with the temple. Above it stood the seraphim, which is a class of angels. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, and with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he did fly. And one cried unto another, and said, Holy, holy, holy is Yahuah Sabaoth. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, Yahuah Sabaoth. So, Isaiah was saying that it's hard. He wasn't saying that it's impossible, but he was saying that it was hard to maintain works in this world. It's hard to stay pure. We must protect ourselves at all costs, because the heathen is round about us setting snares and stumbling blocks. We must repent when we slip up, and we must do our best to guard ourselves so as to not slip up again. The point is to never give up and never let your trust in Yahuah fade. All right, lines 7-9, Isaiah 64, 7-9. And there is none that calls upon your name, that stirs up himself to take hold of you. For you have hid your face from us, and have consumed us, because of our iniquities. But now, O Yahuah, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are potter, and we are all the works of your hand. Be not wroth very sore, O Yahuah, neither remember iniquity forever. Behold, see, we beseech you, we are all your people. Line 7 says, There is none that calls upon your name, that stirs up himself to take hold of you. For you have hid your face from us, and have consumed us because of our iniquities. So let's talk about calling upon Yahuah's name. Using his name, his true name, is so important, brothers and sisters. We must be using his real name, and not the pagan, satanic titles that his name was replaced with. By his name, Yahuah Sabaoth. we are saved. His name 1000% matters. Isaiah 12:4. And in that day shall ye say, Praise Yahuah, call upon his name, declare his doings among the people, and make mention that his name is exalted.
3 hours.
In that day, the day of Yahuah, we will praise the earth and exalt his name and make mention of his goodness in the earth. Like I said last week, brothers and sisters, share your testimonies with people. Share how good that Yahuah has been to you. Romans 9:17. For the scripture says unto Pharaoh, Even for the same purpose have I raised you up, that I might show my power in you, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Every person has a purpose to serve. Some Yahuah created for righteousness, and some he created for wickedness. He has mercy on who he has mercy, and he hardens who he hardens. Look at Pharaoh. Yahuah hardened his heart so that he wouldn't let Moshe and his people go, that they may show his power, that they may show Yahuah's power through Moshe and Aaron. And the same with us, that his power may be showed through us and his name declared throughout the earth. Ezekiel 39:7. So I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people, Yasharel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name any more. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahuah, the Holy One, in Yasharel. Yahuah will reveal his holy name to his people. And has he not? It's no coincidence that people are waking up and coming into the truth about his name, guys. Yahuah is doing this. He is leading and revealing his truth to his people. Malachi 3:16 through 18. Then they that feared Yahuah spoke often to one another, and Yahuah hearkened and heard it, and a sefer of record was written before him that feared Yahuah, that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, says Yahuah Sebaoth, in that day when I make up my jewels, I will spare them, as a man spares his own son that serves him. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves Elohim and him that serves him not. And this right here is why the scriptures were compiled together in what you now know as your Bible. A book of remembrance was put together for those who fear Yahuah and spoke often to one another. They thought upon his name, and in that day when he makes up his jewels, the New Jerusalem, he will spare them, and they will return and discern the righteous and the wicked, and between him who serves Elohim and him who does not. Yeah, I'm not so sure, guys. I don't think we're going to make it to line 15. We're going to have to see, okay? Let's get back to where we were.
Jimmy's right. It's a job, and I love it.
Oops, hold on. All right, here we go. Psalms 105, 1 through 45. O give thanks unto Yahuah, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the people, sing unto him, sing psalms unto him, talk ye of all his wondrous works, glory ye in his name, let the heart of them that rejoice, seek Yahuah, seek Yahuah and his strength, seek his face evermore, remember his marvelous works that he has done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth, O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Yaakov, his chosen. He is Yahuah Eloheinu. His judgments are in all the earth. He has remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which the covenant he cut with Abraham, and his oath unto Yitzhak, and confirmed the same unto Yaakov for a law, and to Yasharel for an everlasting covenant, saying, Unto you will I give the land of Canaan, and the lot of your inheritance, when they were but a few men in number, yea, very few, and strangers in it. And when they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sakes, saying, Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land, and he broke the whole staff of bread. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant, whose feet they hurt with fetters. He was laid in iron until the time that his word came. The word of Yahuah tried him. The king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people, and let him go free. He made him Adonai of his house, and ruler of all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure, and teach his senators wisdom. Yasharel also came to Mitzrayim, and Yaakov sojourned in the land of Ham. And he increased his people greatly, and made them stronger than their enemies. He turned their heart to hate his people, to deal subtly with his servants. And he sent Moshe, his servant, and Aaron, whom he had chosen. And they showed signs among them, and wonders in the land of Ham. And for those who don't know, Ham is the son of Noah, and Ham was given the land of Egypt. Egypt belonged to the land of Ham. The Egyptian people are the sons of Ham, who is the son of Noah. And that's the funny part, too. The Hebrews, they were enslaved by their own brethren. Anyways, where was I? And he increased his people greatly, and he made them stronger than their enemies. And he showed signs and wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness, and he made it dark, and they rebelled not against his word. He turned their waters into blood, and he slew their fish. Their land brought forth frogs in abundance, in the chambers of their kings. He spoke, and there came diverse sorts of flies, and lice in all their coasts. And he gave them hail for rain, and flaming fire in their land. He smote their vines also, and their fig trees, and he broke the trees of their coasts. He spoke, and the locusts came, and the caterpillars that are without number. And he did eat up all the herbs in their land, and devoured the fruit of their ground. He smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength. And he brought them forth also with silver and gold. And there was not one feeble person among their tribes. Mitzrayim was glad when they departed, for fear of them fell upon them. And he spread a cloud for a covering, and fire to give light in the night. And the people asked, and he brought quails, and satisfied them with the bread of heaven, manna. He opened the rock, and the waters gushed out, and they ran to the dry places like a river. For he remembered his holy promise, and Abraham his servant. And he brought forth his people with joy, and his chosen with gladness. And he gave them the lands of the heathen, and they inherited the labor of the people, that they might keep his statutes and guard his Torah. Hallelujah. All right, back to Isaiah. We are on line 8 now. Isaiah 64:8. But now, O Yahuah, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are potter. We are all the work of your hand. I'm pretty sure we actually talked about this briefly a little bit last week. We established that Yahuah made all of us, every last one of us. Every color and every tongue and kindred. He made every blade of grass and every creeping thing in the earth. Romans 9:20-21. Nay, but O man, who are you that reply against Elohim? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why have you made me thus? Has not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? So, shall the thing formed say to its creator, why did you make me this way? Like when you say to Yahuah, why did you make me so short? Why did you make me so tall? Why did you make me ugly? Why am I so ugly? Why am I fat? Did he not make all things perfectly? Don't talk ill of yourself, brothers and sisters. Or some people, you think to yourself, why did Yahuah make them so evil? Why are they such a terrible person? Why are they so wicked? Does the potter not have power over the clay? Doesn't Yahuah have power over us to make one vessel for his honor and to make another for dishonor, for righteousness and unrighteousness? 2 Timothy 2, line 19-21. Nevertheless, the foundation of Elohim stands sure. Having this seal, Yahuah knows them that are his. And let everyone that names the name of Mashiach depart from iniquity. But in a great house, they are not only the vessels of gold and silver, but are also the wood are of wood and of earth. And some ought to honor, and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these things, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified, and a meat for Adonai's use, and prepared unto every good work. So it says the foundation of Elohim is sure. And who is the foundation of Elohim? We are referred to as the foundations of New Jerusalem, the pillars, and the prophets and the apostles are also referred to as foundation stones, with Yahushua being the chief cornerstone. and having the seal of Yahuah in your forehead, everyone who names the name of Messiah must depart from iniquity. But in the high hills there are temples that they have made for their false Elohim, and they do have statues and vessels. So if a man purges himself from sin, he shall be like a vessel of honor, sanctified for the Most High to use, and prepared unto every good work. Isaiah 64:9. Be not wroth very sore, O Yahuah, neither remember iniquity forever. Behold, see, we beseech you, we are all your people. Now, remember I said earlier to pour your heart out unto Yahuah in confession. Tell him of all of your iniquities and the iniquities of your ancestors, as we talked about the generational curses. And we're going to get an idea of what that sounds like by reading part of Daniel chapter 9. I was going to read the whole chapter, but I decided to just do the part that was the prayer. So, this is Daniel crying out to the Most High, making his confession. And let's go ahead and read it. Daniel 9:4-27. And I prayed unto Yahuah Elohai, and made my confession, and said, O Adonai, the great and dreadful El, guarding the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that guard his commandments. We have sinned, and have committed iniquity, and have done wickedly, and have rebelled, even by departing from your precepts and from your judgments. Neither have we hearkened unto your servants, the prophets, which spoke in your name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. O Adonai, righteousness belongs unto you, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Yehudah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Yasharel that are near, and that are far off, through all the countries whither you have driven them, because of their transgression, that they have transgressed against you. O Yahuah, to us belongs confusion of face, and to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against you. To Adonai Eloheinu belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahuah Eloheinu, to walk in his Torah, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Yasharel have transgressed your Torah, even by departing, that they might not obey your voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the Torah of Moshe, the servant of Elohim, because we have sinned against him. And he has confirmed his words, which he spoke against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven has not been done as has been done upon Jerusalem. As it is written in the Torah of Moshe, all this evil is come upon us, yet made we not our prayer before Yahuah Eloheinu, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand your truth. And what is the truth again? Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your law, your Torah, is the truth. Psalms 119, 142. Therefore has Yahuah watched upon the evil, and brought it upon us. For Yahuah Eloheinu is righteous in all his works which he does. For we obeyed not his voice. And now Adonai Eloheinu, that has brought your people forth out of the land of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand, has gotten you renown. As at this day we have sinned, we have done wickedly. O Adonai, according to all your righteousness, I beseech you, let your anger and your fury be turned away from your city, Jerusalem, your holy mountain, because for our sins and for the iniquities of our fathers, Jerusalem and our people are become a reproach to all that are about us. Now therefore, O Eloheinu, hear the prayer of your servant and his supplication, and cause your face to shine upon your sanctuary that is desolate, for Adonai's sake. O Elohai, incline your ear and hear. Open your eyes and behold our desolations, in the city which is called by your name. For we do not present our supplications before our righteousness, but for our great mercies. O Adonai, hear. O Adonai, forgive. O Adonai, hearken, and do defer not. For your own sake, O Elohai, for your city and your people are called by your name. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin, the sin of my people, Yasharel, presenting my supplication before Yahuah Elohai in the holy mountain of my Elohim. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man, Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me, and he talked with me, and said, O Daniel, I I am now come forth to give you skill and understanding. At the beginning of your supplications the word came forth, and I am come to show you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore understand the matter and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined for the people in the holy city to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make atonement for iniquity, and to bring in an everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and the prophet, and anoint the Holy of Holies. Know and understand that from the going forth of the word to return and build Yerushalayim unto Mashiach the Prince is 7 weeks, and 62 weeks, returning to diligently building the wide street in the times of distress. And after 62 weeks, Mashiach is cut off, but nothing of the holy city is ruined. And the people of the prince to come, and the end of which is in a flood, even unto the end of the battle. Devastation is determined, and the strength of the covenant multiplies for 1 week. And in the middle of the week, the sacrifice and oblation cease, and upon the end, abominations destroy, until the consummation is determined and poured over the desolation. So, for time's sake, we're not going to dive into this, but when I return, we're definitely going to be getting into like the book of Daniel and Revelation and like all of the end time stuff. We're going to be getting into that a lot more. So, all right, so now we're on the last 3 lines of chapter 64, and then we're going to try to make it to line 15 of 65. We'll see, and then we'll close things up. Isaiah 64, 10 through 12. Your holy cities are a wilderness. Sion is a wilderness. Yerushalayim a desolation. Our holy and our beautiful house, where our fathers praised you, is burned up with fire, and all our pleasant things are laid waste. Will you refrain yourself for these things, O Yahuah? Will you hold your peace and afflict us very sore? Line 10. Your holy cities are a wilderness. Sion is a wilderness. Yerushalayim a desolation. Yahuah is going to lay that entire land over there to waste, brothers and sisters. If you read the cities that are going to be laid waste in the very end, and then you go and you plot them as little dots on a map, you can see the entire physical promised land being completely destroyed. Line 11. Our holy and our beautiful house, where our fathers praised you, is burned up with fire, and all our pleasant things are laid waste. Yahuah will destroy the temples and the high places of Judah and Shamaron. He will break into pieces their idols, and he will consume them in fire and fury, because of those who are double-minded, and those who worship Baal in secret, and then come worship Yahuah and think that he doesn't see what they're doing. Line 12. Will you refrain yourself for these things, O Yahuah? Will you hold your peace and afflict us very sore? Will Yahuah hold his peace? And how long will it continue like this? Ezekiel 36, 1 through 8. Also, son of Adam, prophesy unto the mountains of Yasharel, and say, Ye mountains of Yasharel, hear the word of Yahuah. Thus says Adonai Yahuah, because the enemy is set against you. Aha! Even the ancient high places are ours and possession. Therefore, prophesy and say, Thus says Adonai Yahuah, because they have made you desolate, and have swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the remnant of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people. Therefore, ye mountains of Yasharel, hear the word of Adonai Yahuah. Thus says Adonai Yahuah to the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which become a prey and a derision to the remnant of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuah, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the remnant of the heathen, and against all Edom, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, and with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Yasharel, and say unto the mountains, and unto the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, Thus says Adonai Yahuah, Behold, I have spoken in my jealousy, and in my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuah, I have lifted up my hand, surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. But ye, O mountains of Yasharel, ye shall shoot forth your branches, and yield your fruit to my people of Yasharel, for they are at hand to come. So, he said, prophesy to the enemy who has risen against them, and he said, Aha! Even the ancient high places are ours, the places of Sumeria and of Jerusalem. And for those of you who don't know, Sumeria eventually went on to become Babylon, and it is now today part of what is now southern Iraq. And who owns those states now? The enemy. Both states, the state of Iraq and the state of Israel, both belong to the United Nations. And I also want you to think about the people who own and control this world. Think of like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, Bill Gates, George Soros, people like that. So in Yahuah's anger and his jealousy, he will pay them recompense for what they have done to his people. And now we're going to skip down to the end of Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel 36, 33 through 36. Thus says Adonai Yahuah, in the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and in the waste shall be built, and the desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that are passed by. And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden, and the waste and desolate ruined cities are become fenced, and are inhabited. And then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yahuah, build the ruined places, and plant that which is desolate. I, Yahuah, have spoken this, and I will do it. And this is the whole plan here. The elite of the, well, this is their plan. The elite of the world, that is to get Islam and the state of Israel to war with each other, which so far it's working pretty well. If you get on Google, you should read some of the news that's coming like out of Israel in the Middle East right now. It's not good. For those of you who saw when they sent those 5 red heifers over to Israel, they were talking so much about the red heifers that they weren't really covering what was actually going on over there. People were like out in the streets protesting and rioting, and it was getting really bad. Like the rioting was getting so bad, people were out there dying. And you should also Google and look at what's going on in Iran right now. It's pretty bad in Iran. There was, I forget her name, and I feel really terrible that I forgot her name now. There was some girl over there, she was like wrongfully murdered, I forget her name, and people started rising up, and they were being her voice, and they are like over there right now, they are killing children. 16-year-old little girls are being murdered right now over in Iran. So it's not even about religion anymore at this point. It's all about control. So, yeah, they're on the verge of a war right now. And it's written in their own little prophecies, the elite, them, the heathens. It is written in their prophecies that they have. If you have a chance, you should check out the book. It's called The Third Degree Freemason, and it was written by Albert Pike. And it talks about all of their prophecies of like what their plan is with the world. And it's really funny because if you read what their plan is, you can line it up in scripture. This is all supposed to happen. Everything that's happening right now, even every single last horrible, terrible, wicked thing, it's all according to plan. It is all supposed to happen. Okay, now we are moving on to chapter 65, which begins to talk about the coming judgment and salvation. And we're going to see if we can make it to line 15 tonight. I'm not entirely sure. And you guys got to give me just a moment. I need to go refill my drink. I'll be right back. All right, let's see how far we get. We're going to try to get to line 15, and then next week we'll pick up where we left off in the series finale, and we will also discuss the final chapter, 66. But now we are beginning with 65, lines 1 through 3, and we're going to go over these 3 lines together. Isaiah 65, 1 through 3. For I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold. I said, behold me, behold me. unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walks in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts, a people which provokes me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifices in the gardens, and burns incense upon the altars of brick. And where have we seen this said before? I am sought of those that asked not for me, and found of those that sought me not, to a nation that was not called by my name, and he has spread his hand out all day unto a rebellious people, a people who would not listen, and provoke him to anger, that go to the high hills, and sacrifice, and burn incense to Baal, and then come to the Most High's holy temple, and defile it with their double mind. We're going to read from the book of 2 Esdras, also known as the 4th book of Ezra. This book used to be in your Bible, but it was taken out in the late 1800s. So we're going to read 2 Esdras 1, lines 24 through 39. It says, What shall I do unto you, O Yaakov? You, Yehudah, would not obey me. I will turn me to other nations, and unto those will I give my name, that they may guard my statutes. Seeing ye have forsaken me, I will forsake you also. When ye desire me to be gracious unto you, I shall have no mercy upon you. Whensoever ye shall call upon me, I will not hear you. For ye have defiled your hands with blood, and your feet are swift to commit manslaughter. Ye have not, as it were, forsaken me, but your own selves, says Yahuah. Thus says El Shaddai, Yahuah, have I not prayed to you as a father his sons, and as a mother her daughters, and as a nurse her young babes, that ye would be my people, and I should be your Elohim, that ye would be my children, and I should be your father? I gathered you together as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face. When ye offer unto me, I will turn my face from you. For your solemn feast days, your new moons, and your circumcisions have I forsaken. I sent unto you my servants, the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies into pieces, whose blood will I require of your hands, says Yahuah. Thus says El Shaddai Yahuah, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind does stubble, and your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment, and have done the thing that is evil before me. Your house will I give to a people that shall come, which shall not, having heard of me, yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do the things that I command them. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in the Ruach, in spirit, they believe the thing that I say. And now, brother, behold, what glory! And see the people that come from the east, unto whom I will give for leaders Avraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov and Husha and Amo and Mikayahu and Yoel and Obadiah and Jonah. So he will give them Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Hosea and Amos, and I'm not sure who Mikayahu is. That's Matthew. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's Matthew. And Joel and Obadiah and Jonah. Or Micaiah. No, I think maybe that's Micah. Yeah, I think that's Micah. Let me see. I think that's Micah.
She's informed. She's a baby herself.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's Micah. So because the children of Judah and Jacob, the two families he established his covenant with, wouldn't obey, Yahuah turned his word to the other nations, and he gave them his name and his statutes. The true seed of Yahuah should begin to arise, the true children of Avraham. If you haven't noticed by now, there is always a chosen line for the seed. Like, for example, let's use Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael was the true-born son of Avraham, just as was Isaac, but Ishmael was chosen for destruction and the sword, and Isaac was chosen to carry on the covenant. He has mercy on whom he has mercy, and he hardens who he hardens. This next bit, we can actually see our Messiah directly quote. It says that you will be my people and I your Elohim. You will be my children and I your father. I gathered you as a hen gathers her chickens under her wing. Now what shall I do to you? We'll circle back to that in just a minute. Yahuah says, I will cast you out and turn my face from you. For your new moons and solemn feast days and circumcisions I have forsaken. You have murdered my prophets. Yet they, my prophets, shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge their wrongdoings. And so shall this seed that is going to arise. This is for they who have not seen him with bodily eyes, but believe the things that he says. Now, I don't know about you, brothers and sisters. I don't know how you attribute this passage to any other generation than ours. We are the only generation who hasn't seen signs and wonders. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Joshua, Daniel, Enoch, all of them, they saw so many wonders from Yah. We saw Messiah perform many miracles, especially on the Shabbat. The more he performed miracles, the more it made the Pharisees and the Sadducees hate him, and ultimately they murdered him for it. We haven't seen any signs or wonders at all in our generation, yet we believe Yahusha's words with all of our heart, with all of our soul. The true seed isn't a specific bloodline or color, so please don't let that blind you. It's anyone who has put on Messiah and guards his commandments, as Paul breaks it down for us. Now let's take a look at Yahusha quoting the book of 2 Esdras, also known as the 4th book of Ezra. Lines 30 through 32. It said that we just read, it said, you will be my people and I your Elohim, and you shall be as my children and I your father, and I will gather you as a hen gathers her chickens under her wing. What shall I do unto you? Yahusha said in Matthew 23, lines 34 through 38, wherefore, behold, I sent you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them ye shall scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous bloodshed upon the earth. From the blood of the righteous Haval, which is Abel, unto the blood of Zachariah, and son of Baruch, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. Amen, I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this nation. O Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, you that kill the prophets and stone them, which are sent unto you, how often would I have gathered your children together, even as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto desolation. And we just read that in 2 Esdras. It says right here.
That's what it costs. Paying too much. I'm not a monkey all day. Doctor?
Hold on. I just had it.
That's right. I know. Now, what are you going to do about it?
It says that you would be my people and I should be your Elohim. And you would be my children and I should be your father. I gathered you together as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. And then it said, also, your house is left unto desolation. We go back into 2 Esdras. It says right here, thus says El Shaddai Yahuah, your house is desolate. This is exactly what we just read in 2 Esdras, almost verbatim. So if 2 Esdras and the Apocrypha isn't scripture, then how come our Messiah, the living word, the living Torah, quotes it almost verbatim every time? Whose word is it? It's Yahusha's word. He is the word. They are his words spoken by the Father. And really quick, let's go ahead and establish who Israel is. For anyone who is confused or new here, let's learn who Israel actually is. Isaiah 41:8 says, but you, Yasharel, are my servant, Yaakov, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. So you, Israel, are my servant, the seed of Jacob, whom I have chosen. Israel and Jacob are synonymous with each other. Israel is Jacob. Jacob is Israel. That is, Israel is the name that was given to him by the Most High. Jacob is the seed of Abraham, Yahuah's friend, and Paul explains it even better. Galatians 3:26 through 29. For ye are all the children of Elohim by faith in Mashiach Yahusha. For as many of you as been baptized into Mashiach have put on Mashiach. There is neither Yahudi nor Yavani. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Yahushua HaMashiach. And if you belong to Mashiach, then ye are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. You are Israel. If you have faith in Messiah and you strive to be like him, and you have baptized yourself in his spirit and allowed yourself to be made into a new creation, then there is neither Jew nor Greek, bond nor free, male nor female. We are all one in our Messiah. We are all literal brothers and sisters. And if we belong to Messiah, then we are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Romans 10:9-21. Then, if you shall confess with your mouth Adonai Yahusha, and shall believe in your heart that Elohim has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the heart man believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto Yeshua, salvation. For the scripture says, Whosoever believes on him shall not be ashamed, for there is no difference between the Yahudi and the Yavani, the Jew and the Greek. For the same Yahuah over all is rich unto all that call upon him. For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahuah shall be saved. How then shall they call upon him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent? And as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the Besorah of peace and bring good news of good things. But they have not all obeyed the Besorah, the gospel. For Yeshayahu, Isaiah, says, Yahuah, who has believed our report? So then, faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of Elohim. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the end of the world. But I say, did not Yasharel know? For Moshe says, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. But Yeshayahu, Isaiah, is very bold, and says, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not for me. But to Yasharel he says, all day I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. Paul is literally quoting what we just read, what we are reading all today. If you believe the work that Yahushua did here while he was on this earth, and you confess his name, then you shall be saved. With the heart man believes righteousness. You know it is true. You know it is the truth because you can feel it in your heart. And with the mouth confession is made. Whoever believes in him shall not be ashamed, for there is no difference between Jew and Greek. The same Yahuah is rich over all people. Whosoever calls upon the name of Yahuah will be saved. So how can they call upon him if they don't believe in him? And how can they believe when they haven't heard? Their ears have been shut. How shall they hear without a preacher? And how can they preach except they be sent? And we can clearly see that Yahuah is waking his people up and convicting them to proclaim his truth. I know I was convicted to start speaking on his truth. To learn the ways of the Torah and to teach them to men. As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the Besorah, the gospel of peace, and bring good news. For it was told to Isaiah to preach the Besorah of peace, and he did. And he told Yahuah, whom has believed the report? So faith comes by hearing. Remember, in Hebrew, faith is an action. The Hebrew word is emunah, hearing and doing. Hearing and doing the word of Yahuah. Have they not heard? Yes, they were sent to the ends of the earth, and their words to the end of the world, but the children didn't listen. Instead, they murdered the prophets and the apostles. Yahuah told Moshe that a people that weren't his would become his people, and it would anger the children of physical Israel. And he says that in Deuteronomy 32:21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not El. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. And Isaiah was very bold and said, I was sought of them who asked not for me, and found of those who sought me not. But to Israel he says, I have stretched my hand out to a disobedient and gainsaying people. And line 18 actually comes from Psalms 19:4, and what we just read in Romans 9:18 is actually quoting Psalms 19:4. says, "Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words unto the end of the world. In them has he set a tabernacle for the sun." The sun in the sky, not the sun, the actual sun that gives us light, the luminary. Next is Isaiah 53, 3 through 13. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. And with stripes we are healed. With his stripes we are healed. All we, like sheep, have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. And Yahuah has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb. So he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was there any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased Yahuah to bruise him. He has put him to grief. When you shall make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuah shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he has poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he has poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. So, now, remember when we went over this a few weeks ago, we learned how this was a prophecy about Yahusha. He was despised and rejected, a man of sorrows. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. And he bore our griefs, and he carried our affliction, and we esteemed him not. They basically all laughed at him. The people who believed and followed him were not very many. They were few in number. And he was wounded for our transgressions, and bruised for our iniquities. And with his stripes, and with his suffering, and ultimately his death, we are saved. And like sheep we have gone astray, everyone walking in their own way. And Yahuah laid iniquity on them all, and he laid the iniquity of them all on his servant. He was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. As a lamb brought to slaughter, he was taken from prison and judgment. Who shall declare his generation? Excuse me. Oh, what is going on? He was cut off from the land of the living for their transgression, and he made his grave with the wicked. And when he descended to Sheol, and he took captivity captive. Even though he had done no violence, nor spoke deceitfully, it pleased Yahuah to bruise him, because he was able to take it. His soul was an offering for sin, the final sin offering, which was what was finished when he was upon the stake. Sacrifice was finished, not the law. And his seed, his brothers and sisters, shall prolong their days, and Yahuah will prosper them in his hand. And it says, by his knowledge, Yahuah's righteous one shall justify many. And what is knowledge? This is what I had to download this app for. We are going to read a couple verses about what is knowledge. So, Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected the knowledge, I will also reject you, that you shall be no priest to me. Seeing you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim, I will also forget your children. Malachi 2:7, for the priest's lips should guard knowledge, and they should seek the Torah at his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahuah Sabaoth. Now let's read Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 11:15. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Torah are of Yahuah. Love and the way of good works are from him. Sirach 15:1. He that fears Yahuah will do good, and he that has the knowledge of the Torah shall obtain her. Sirach 17:11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge and the Torah of life for a heritage. Sirach 19:20. The fear of Yahuah is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the Torah and the knowledge of his omnipotency. Sirach 45:5. He made him to hear his voice and brought him into the dark cloud and gave him commandments before his face, even the Torah of life and knowledge, that he might teach Yaakov his covenants and Yasharel his judgments. Ezra 10:28. And the rest of the people, the priests, the Leviim, the porters, the singers, the Nethaim, and all they had separated themselves from the people of the lands unto the Torah of Elohim, their women, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding. 4 Maccabees 9:2. We should be disgracing our fathers if we did not obey the Torah and take knowledge for our guide. And Romans 2:20. An instructor of the foolish, a teacher of the babes, which have the form of knowledge and of the truth in Torah. All right, back to where we were. So, the Torah is knowledge. Having knowledge is knowing and understanding the Torah. He will bear the iniquities of those he justifies, and he will divide a portion with the great and strong, because he poured his soul unto death and was numbered among the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, being an intercessor for transgression. Psalms 1:1-2. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits on the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuah, and in his Torah he meditates day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth fruit in his season. His leaf shall also not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. Isaiah 63:15-19. Look down from heaven and behold the habitation of your holiness and of your glory. Where is your zeal and strength, and the abundance of your heart and of your mercies toward me? Are they restrained? Doubtless. You are our Father. Though Abraham be ignorant of us, and Yasharel acknowledge us not. O Yahuah, you are our Father, our Redeemer. Your name is from everlasting. O Yahuah, why have you made us to err from your ways, and harden our heart from your fear? Return for your servant's sake, the tribe of your inheritance. The people of your holiness have possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries have trodden down your sanctuary. We are yours. You never bore rule over them. They were not called by your name. We talked about this last week. It says, look down from heaven, calling for Yahuah to remember his people and his covenant, and to have mercy on us, those who were not called his people, the people who never knew Abraham, and the people who physical Israel refuses to acknowledge. Yahuah is our Father and our Redeemer, and why are the children still erring from his ways, and to have hardened their hearts to fear? And this is something I really want to address, because I see this every single day. Not enough people have a healthy fear of Yah, and it's really scary. A lot of people joke about him or make a mockery of him, and I'm here to tell you that it's not going to be funny on that last day. It's not going to be funny at all. You're going to be terrified out of your mind, because Yahuah is going to be having the last laugh. Give me just a moment, guys. Hold on.
Okay.
So you think about that, you guys. You think about that when you celebrate Christmas and Easter and Halloween and eat ham and shrimp and the abomination, which we're going to talk about more in just a minute. You think about that. On the last day, you're going to have to answer for that. You're going to have to answer for every single thing you have ever done in your entire life. All of it. Every last thing. So, you think about that. You're going to have to answer for it. And you mean to tell me that you're going to look at the Most High and say Christmas, the most selfish, most self-absorbed holiday in the world, you're going to tell him that was more important to you than he is. And you're going to tell him that celebrating a holiday that honors Satan was more important than his holy set-apart feast days. Teaching their children that being good and trusting in Santa, or Satan, they weren't even clever about changing the name. All you got to do is rearrange a couple letters and you got Satan. Will get them presents instead of teaching them to trust in the Most High and get eternal life. What would you rather have, some Christmas presents, or you want to live forever? Do you want to be burned in the lake of fire over Christmas presents? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound mean about this, but I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Research the things that you celebrate. Learn the origins of where they came from. Because let me tell you, Christmas and Easter have some, and Halloween too, all of them have some really sick, and I mean sick, origins. Like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer. Sick. So, I want to make it clear that honoring these pagan feast days is a literal one-way ticket to the lake of fire. And I don't say that to scare you, but if it does scare you, good. You should research what you celebrate and where it came from. Yahuah hates these days with all of his soul, and he did not ordain them. These people have trodden down Yah's sanctuary, and they do not bear his name. They are not his people. All right, lines 4 through 6. Isaiah 65, 4 through 6. Which remain among the graves and lodge in the mountains, which eat swine's flesh, and the broth of abominable things is in their vessels, which say, Stand by yourself, come not near to me, for I am holier than you. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burns all the day. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. Line 4. Which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and the broth of abominable things is in their vessels. Well, there it is, brothers and sisters. Those of you who are still eating pork and think it's not bad, here's Yahuah. He's talking about seeking his vengeance, the day that he returns to give recompense to the wicked. And who did he include among them? Those who are eating swine's flesh, pork. Leviticus 11, 1 through 8. And Yahuah spoke unto El Moshe and to El Aaron, saying to them, Speak unto the children of Yasharel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whosoever parts the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and chews the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof. Shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he chews the cud, but he divides not the hoof. He is unclean to you. And the coney, because he chews the cud, but divides not the hoof. He is unclean to you. And the hare, because he chews the cud, but divides not the hoof. He is unclean to you. And the swine, though he divides the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he chews not the cud. He is unclean to you. Of their flesh ye shall not eat, and their carcass ye shall not touch. They are unclean to you. It is so unclean that we shouldn't even touch their dead bodies. Just touching their dead bodies makes us unclean. Here is where Yahuah had Moshe write down the dietary laws, and swine is marked as an unclean thing, because the pig divides the hoof but doesn't chew the cud, meaning the pig doesn't regurgitate its food and chew it a second time. Pigs are also very dirty, and I don't mean like filthy dirty, I mean like what they eat. Dirty. They eat feces and rotten carcasses. They are full of diseases. They carry parasites. And let's not even start on the diseases that they pass to humans. You eat too much bacon, you're going to die. Now, I want to make it known that this has always been the law since Adam and Eve. Let me show you guys something. Genesis 7:2. Of every clean beast you shall take by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. This is Yahuah speaking to Noah, saying to gather every clean beast by sevens, and every unclean beast by twos. If Yahuah's Torah hasn't always been, and if it was only created with Moshe on Mount Sinai, then how did Noah know which beasts were clean and unclean to gather and bring into the ark? The answer is because the Word has always been with Elohim since the very beginning. Let's read something that we're also going to go over more a little later. Oh, actually, next week, I should say. Isaiah 66:15-17. For behold, Yahuah will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will Yahuah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuah shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, says Yahuah. Again, we see Yahuah speaking about rendering his anger upon the heathens, consuming them with fire. And once again, who's included with them? Those who are eating swine's flesh. It's no coincidence, brothers and sisters, that he specifically mentioned that. Line 5, Isaiah 65:5, which they, stand by yourself, come not near to me, for I am holier than you. These are a smoke in my nose and a fire that burns all day.
Temple 39, complaining of nausea and dizziness since waking today.
Oh, and line 6 too. Isaiah 65:6. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. Moving forward to lines 7-9. Oh, it's not going to take as long as I thought it was. I think we can get to line 15 tonight, guys. Isaiah 65:7-9. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, says Yahuah, which have burned incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. Thus says Yahuah, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one says, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it. So will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all. And I will bring forth a seed out of Yaakov and out of Yehudah, an inheritor of my mountains, and my elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. Line 7, let's go over it. It says, your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, says Yahuah, which have burned incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore I will measure their former work into their bosom. We see here that we are not just punished for our own iniquities, but also the iniquities of our fathers as well, the generational curses. On to line 8. Isaiah 65:8. Thus says Yahuah, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one says, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it. So I will do for my servants' sake, that I may not destroy them all. Do not destroy my new wine that is found in the cluster. He says they are blessed, and he does in
We have a gurney right here. Can we move on to this?
he does this so we're not all destroyed. I got some typos in here. Ezekiel 22:18-31. Son of Adam, the house of Yasharel is to me become dross. All they are brass and tin and iron and lead in the midst of the furnace. They are even the dross of silver. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuah, because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Yerushalayim, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace, to blow fire upon it, to melt it. So will I gather you in my anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. Yea, I will gather you and blow upon you the fire of my wrath, and ye shall be melted in the midst thereof. As silver is melted in the midst of the furnace, so shall ye be melted in the midst thereof, and ye shall know that I, Yahuah, have poured out my fury upon you. And the word of Yahuah came unto me, saying, Son of Adam, say unto her, you are the land that is not cleansed, nor rained upon in the day of indignation. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure of precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my Torah, and profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane, neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Shabbats. And I am profaned among them. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain. And her prophets have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, Thus says Adonai Yahuah, when Yahuah has not spoken. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, and vexed the poor and needy. Yea, they oppressed the stranger wrongfully. And I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge and stand in the gap before me for the land, that I should not destroy it. But I found none. Therefore I have poured out my indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath, and their own way have I recompensed upon their heads, says Adonai Yahuah. So this is speaking to the heathen nations. Because they have become a dross to the people, like of iron and lead and silver and tin, so Yahuah will gather them in the midst of Jerusalem. And while Yahuah's servants and angels gather their idols and statues together in a heap to burn them, Excuse me. Oh, what is going on tonight? Oh, I think I got some indigestion, guys. Oh, I had pizza earlier, and me and tomato sauce are not really friends anymore. Oh. Okay. So, yeah, it says, while Yahweh's servants and angels gather their idols and statues together in a heap to burn them, so Yahuah will gather the heathen in his anger, to burn them with the flames of his fury. As silver is melted in the fire, so are the disobedient melted. Yahuah tells Ezekiel, you are in a land that is not cleansed, nor will they receive the rains of blessings on the day of indignation. They're going to receive the rains of curses. They have devoured the prophets and have taken the treasure and precious things. They violate the Torah and make no distinction between the holy and the profane, and rather they mix the two together. Yahuah says, I am profaned among them, like ravening wolves after their prey, destroying souls to get a dishonest gain, lying to people for their own personal gain. Her prophets have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing their vanity and puffed up egos. And a wall made with untempered mortar, by the way, would be a very flimsy and unstable wall. Thus says Yahuah, and they say, thus says Yahuah, and Yahuah hasn't even spoken. The people of the land have used oppression, and talking about that land over there, Jerusalem, in the Middle East, they have used oppression and exercised robbery and have vexed the poor and the needy and have oppressed the stranger within the gates. Therefore, Yahuah will pour out his indignation upon them, and they will be consumed in the fire of his wrath, and recompense shall come upon their heads. And once again, let's talk about who's in that land right now. Who's in that land? Rabbinic Judaism is. And let's talk about that again. We discussed that a little bit towards the middle of this series, and now we're going to establish it again. What is Rabbinic Judaism? Rabbinic Judaism, also called Rabbinism or Rabbinicism or Judaism espoused by the Rabbinites, has been the mainstream form of Judaism since the 6th century CE after the codification of the Babylonian Talmud. Rabbinic Judaism has its roots in Pharisaic Judaism. So, I think that's all you really need to know right there, brothers and sisters. Rabbinic Judaism follows the Babylonian Talmud, which calls our Messiah a liar and a sinner. And it stems from Pharisaic Judaism. They are the children of the Pharisees. Let me just show you an example of the garbage that they teach. And firstly, I want to say too, that how convenient is it that in Judaism, you are ordered to learn the Talmud first. You have to learn the Talmud. And for those of you who don't know, the Talmud is a book of writings from the rabbis. They gave their own interpretation of the scriptures instead of letting the scriptures interpret themselves, and they just insert a lot of their own opinions and traditions into the matter. And in Judaism, you must learn the Talmud before you learn the Torah. They want you to see through their lenses based on their understanding before letting you touch the scriptures. Because if you had no prior knowledge of any of the scriptures, you'd make a very different conclusion than what modern day Judaism or modern day Christianity teaches. And I want to say too, that when I call these specific groups out, I want to make it very clear that this is not me boasting. I'm not boasting. I know I tell you guys that we need to not boast, and this is not it either. I don't think that I am better than these people or holier than them or anything. I'm better than nobody. I'm better than nobody at all. With that said, however, we are called to expose darkness and to expose sin. We are called to bring that out, to bring it to light. Because if we don't correct our brothers and sisters, their blood is on our hands, as we read last week. And I am exposing these man-made religions for what they truly are. They are the commandments and the doctrines of men. And as for me and my house, we serve Yahuah, the one and only Elohim. Now let me show you this garbage that they teach. This is the garbage they say about our Messiah. And this can be found in a section of the Talmud called Gittin. This is from Gittin 57a. So Onkelos. Onkelos was the nephew of Titus. Okay, so Onkelos then went and raised Balaam, who we know was a prophet. He went and raised Balaam from the grave through necromancy. He said to him, "Who is the most important in that world where you are now? And Balaam said to him, the Jewish people. And Ankelos asked him, should I then attach myself to them here in this world? Balaam said to him, you shall not seek their peace or their welfare all the days. Ankelos said to him, what is the punishment of that man? A euphemism for Balaam himself in the next world. Balaam said to him, he is cooked in boiling semen, as he caused Israel to engage in licentious behavior with the daughters of Moab. Ankelos went and raised Jesus, the Nazarene, which in the actual Hebrew version, it says Yeshu the Nazarene, from the grave through necromancy. Ankelos said it to him, who is the most important in that world where you are now? And Yahusha, we're going to call him Jesus, because this is not our Messiah talking. Jesus said unto him, the Jewish people. Ankelos asked him, should I then attach myself to them in this world? And Jesus said to him, their welfare you shall seek, their misfortune you shall not seek. For anyone who touches them is regarded as if he were touching the apple of his eye. Ankelos said to him, what is the punishment of that man? A euphemism for Jesus himself in the next world. And Jesus said to him, he is punished with boiling excrement. As the Master said, anyone who mocks the words of the sages, now listen to that, anyone who mocks the words of the sages will be sentenced to boiling excrement. Now where is that in the scriptures? This was his sin, as he mocked the words of the sages. The Gemara comments, come and see the difference between the sinners of Israel and the prophets of the nations of the world, as Balaam, who was a prophet, wished Israel harm, whereas Jesus, the Nazarene, who was a Jewish sinner, sought their well-being. It makes me angry just reading that. So, Ankelos, who is Titus's nephew, the son of his sister, he wanted to come back to the Most High's ways. At least he thought he did. Maybe he was somewhat on the right track, but didn't know where to start. There was a lot. I mean, it was just like it is now. There was a lot back then that could lead you astray. So what did he do? He went about it all wrong, is what he did. Let's get a little lesson here. Firstly, he started raising prophets from the dead via necromancy. We do not speak to the dead. That is strictly forbidden. The dead are sleeping. Whom you speak to is Satan and his demons. Some say, okay, well, how come they know things that only my loved one knew? Demons attach to you guys. They attach to your spirit, and they get to know everything about you. They even help shape you into the person that you become. And this is how. This is how they know everything about your loved one and how they can tell you things that only your loved one knew. So, anyways, we see witchcraft being performed to inquire about the Most High. And Ankelos raises Balaam. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Balaam, some call him a prophet. He was summoned by King Balak of Moab, who wanted to curse the children of Yasharel. So he asked Balaam to do it. And he enticed Balaam with lots of gifts, which were tempting because he wanted them. But he inquired of the Most High anyways, and who told him to not do it. Do not curse these children, they are blessed. So instead of cursing the children, Balaam tells Balak how to set a stumbling block before the children by enticing them with sexual immorality and food that's sacrificed to idols, like Easter or Ishtar and Christmas, which is also called Yule. The doctrine of Balaam is a little bit of sin doesn't hurt, like a little white lie. So Ankelos asked Balaam, who's the most important people in the world? And Balaam says, the Jewish people. So Ankelos said, well, should I attach myself to them? And Balaam said, do not seek their peace or welfare all your days. So Ankelos asked him what the punishment is for the man, the euphemism of Balaam, in the next world. And Balaam tells him, and I want to remind you that this is not actually Balaam speaking. Balaam is dead. This is Satan, or one of his demons, speaking. And he says that he is being cooked in boiling semen. And he caused Israel and the children of Moab to err. And yeah, you heard that correctly. They said that he's boiling in semen right now. So then, Ankelos went and raised Yahusha from the grave via necromancy. And it wasn't Yahusha. And he spoke with him. And he says, who's the most important in the world you're in now? And Jesus, I'm not calling this devil that's speaking our Messiah's Kodesh name. He told him that the Jewish people were. And he said, well, should I attach them myself to them, or, what do I do? And Jesus said, seek their welfare and not their misfortune. Anyone who touches them is regarded as touching the apple of his eye. And what is the punishment for the man, the euphemism of Jesus in the next world? And Jesus tells him, boiling excrement. Now listen very carefully to what is said next. Jesus tells him that anyone who mocks the sages and their words will be punished with boiling excrement. Now, where in Scripture does it say that? Then they go on and call the Messiah, our true Messiah, a sinner. They call Balaam a prophet who wished for Israel's downfall, and Messiah a Jewish sinner who wished for their well-being. Yahushua never, not once, ever transgressed the Torah. What he did transgress, as I clearly read to you, was the Babylonian Talmud, written by the people who denied our Messiah and sent him to slaughter, called him a sinner, and now they're saying that he's being tortured and tormented in boiling poop. Boiling excrement is poop. And if that isn't the most blasphemous, downright disrespectful, hot garbage that you ever heard, I don't know what is. Just reading it makes me get angry. This is for those people, and for anyone who denies the Messiah. John 8:24. I said therefore unto you, that ye shall die in your sins. For if you believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. This is Messiah's own word to the Jewish people, the children of Judah. As we established before, the Jews are only the children of Judah. There are still 11 other tribes of non-Jews. Jeremiah 8:3-13. And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the remnant of them which remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places whither I have driven them, says Yahuah Sebaoth. Moreover, you shall say unto them, thus says Yahuah, shall they fall and not arise? Shall he turn away and not return? Why then is this people of Yerushalayim slidden back by a perpetual backsliding? They hold fast deceit. They refuse to return. I hearkened and heard, but they spoke not aright. No man repented him of his wickedness, saying, what have I done? Everyone turned to his course, and as the horse rushes into battle, yea, the stork in the heaven knows her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. But my people do not know the judgment of Yahuah. How do you say, we are wise, and the Torah of Yahuah is with us? Lo, certainly the lying pen of the scribes has made it a lie. The wise men are ashamed, and they are dismayed and taken. Lo, they have rejected the word of Yahuah, and what is wisdom in them? Therefore will I give their women unto others, and their fields to them which shall inherit them. For every one, from the least even unto the greatest, is given covetousness. From the prophet even to the priest, everyone deals falsely, for they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they had not committed abomination? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among them that fall. That in the time of their visitation shall they be cast down, says Yahuah. I will surely consume them, says Yahuah. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree, and the leaf shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them. So these children, the lost children of this evil family, the children of the Pharisees, and the children of Christianity as well, they will choose death over life. They will cling to their man-made doctrines and their man-made traditions because to them it is more important. The Talmud is more important to them than the Torah is. Just with Christianity, the back half of the Bible is more important to them than the front half, even though the back half quotes from the front half almost word for word all throughout. They hold fast to their deceit, and they will not return. No one spoke upright, and no man repented of his wickedness. The stork in the heaven knows her appointed times, but the children of Yahuah know not his judgment, his coming judgment. How can you say you are wise and the Torah of Yahuah is with you? The lying pen of the scribes has made it a lie, like the Talmud or the Catholic catechisms, man-made books that are held in higher regards than the Bible and have created their own opinions, which they preach as doctrine, teaching lies and making Yahuah's word of no effect. Those who have rejected the word are taken and dismayed. What wisdom is in them? Therefore their women and their fields and their houses and everything will be taken from them and inherited by another. The prophet unto the priest everyone deals falsely, and that still rings true for today. The priests are liars. There are no prophets in this day. There are some who claim to be prophets, but I highly suggest being careful with them. And those who dream dreams as well, be careful. They say peace when there is no peace. Y'all, peace is not coming. We are never going to see peace, not until the day of our Yeshua, our salvation. And they're not even ashamed for their abominations. In a world where sex is glorified and drugs and speaking profanely and literally just being a heathen is glorified these days, there is no shame. People have zero shame in their behavior, and most are proud of it. Yahuah says, I will surely consume them, and they will not produce fruits. They will cast their fruits untimely. Revelation 3:9. How much more do we got to go? I don't know if we're going to make it, guys. My phone's going to die. Give me just a moment. I'm going to have to go get my phone charger. My phone's going to die, and I think I might have to move you guys just for a minute to finish.
According to the letter of her advance directive.
All right, where was I?
Level of brain activity that I judged.
You decided.
All right, Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yahudim, Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Romans 11:16-21. For if the first fruit be holy, then the lump is also holy, and if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partake of the root of the fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if you boast, you bear not the root, but the root you. You will then say, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and you stand by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not you. So, if the first fruit is holy, then the lump is holy. And we know Yahusha is the first fruits. So if he's holy, we ought to be like him and be holy too. And if the root is holy, then the branches are holy too. And if some of the branches were broken off, the untimely fruits that were cast forth, and you being a wild olive tree are grafted in among them and partake of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, don't boast against the branches. If you boast, you don't bear the root, but the root bears you, meaning you missed the point. You're missing the Ruach HaKodesh. You're doing it so you can say, look what I did. The people that are going to say in the last day, Adonai, Adonai, in your name we cast out devils and perform many wondrous works. And he is going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. You will say, the branches were broken off so that I may be grafted in. But because of unbelief they were broken off, because they weren't hearing and doing. You, my dear brothers and sisters, stand by faith, hear the word, and do it. And don't be high-minded, for if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he doesn't spare you. All right, line 9, Isaiah 65:9. I will bring forth a seed out of Yaakov, and out of Yehudah, an inheritor of my mountains, and my elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. Let's talk about the 2 sticks prophecy really quick, the sowing together of the house of Ephraim and the house of Judah. Ezekiel 37:15-28. The word of Yahuah came again unto me, saying, Moreover, son of Adam, take you 1 stick and write upon it for Yehudah, for the children of Yasharel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Yosef, the stick of Ephraim, and for all of the house of Yasharel his companions, and join them one to another into 1 stick, and they shall become one in your hand. When the children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, Will you not show us what you mean by these? Say unto them, Adonai Yahuah, behold, I will take the stick of Yosef, which is in the hand of Ephraim, Joseph's son, and the tribes of Yasharel his fellows, and will put them even with the stick of Yehudah, Judah, and make them 1 stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks whereon you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And they say unto them, Thus says Adonai Yahuah, Behold, I will take the children of Yasharel from among the heathen, whither they may be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Yasharel, and 1 king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more 2 nations, neither shall they be divided by 2 kingdoms any more at all, neither shall they defile themselves any more with idols, nor with detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have 1 shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and guard my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Yaakov, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will cut a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. more. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahuah, do sanctify Yasharel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. All right, lines 10 through 12. We're almost done, guys, almost done. Isaiah 65, 10 through 12. And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for the herds to lie down. For my people that have sought me, but ye are they that forsake Yahuah, that forget my holy mountain, and prepare a table for Gad, that furnish the drink offering unto many. Therefore I will number you unto the sword, and ye shall bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer, and when I spoke, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Line 10. And Sharon shall be a fold of the flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for the herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me. Line 11. Isaiah 65:11. But ye are they that forsake Yahuah, that forgot my holy mountain, that prepare a table for Gad, and that furnish the drink offering unto many. And let's read the Septuagint version of this verse, line 11. It says, But ye are they that have left me, and forget my holy mountain, and prepare a table for the devil, and fill up the drink offering to fortune. Now let's look at 1 Corinthians 10:21. Ye cannot drink the cup of Yah and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of Yahweh's table and of the table of devils. And I love that the Sefer says devils. You can't drink of the cup of Yah and the cup of Gad. But I love that the Sefer restores a lot of things to their original text. Deuteronomy 12:28. Guard and hear these words which I command you, that it may go well with you and your children after you forevermore, when you do that which is good and right in the sight of Yahuah Eloheka. And let's recall why all this happens in the first place. Because the children came out of Egypt, they still didn't hear the word. Deuteronomy 30, lines 1 through 20. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahuah Eloheka has driven you, and you shall return unto Yahuah Eloheka, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command you this day, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul, that when Yahuah Eloheka will turn your captivity and have compassion on you, and will return you and gather you from all the nations whither Yahuah Eloheka has scattered you. If any of yours be driven out unto the uttermost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahuah Eloheka gather you, and from thence will he fetch you, and Yahuah Eloheka will bring you into a land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will do you good, and multiply you above your fathers, and Yahuah Eloheka will circumcise your heart, and the heart of your seed, to love Yahuah Eloheka with all your heart, and with all your soul, that you may live. And Yahuah Eloheka will put all these curses upon your enemies, and of them that hate you, and which persecuted you, and you shall return and obey the voice of Yahuah, and do all his commandments which I command you this day. And Yahuah Eloheka will make you plenteous in every work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your land, for good. For Yahuah will again rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers, if you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahuah Eloheka, to guard his commandments and his statutes, which are written in the Sefer of the Torah. And if you turn unto El Yahuah Eloheka with all your heart, with all your soul. For this commandment which I command you this day, it is not hidden from you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that you should say, Who shall go up for us to heaven, and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, Who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil, in that I command you this day to love Yahuah Eloheka, and to walk in his ways, and to guard his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply. And Yahuah Eloheka shall bless you in the land whither you go to possess it. But if your heart turn away, so that you will not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other Elohim, and serve them, I denounce you unto this day, and ye shall surely perish, that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither you pass over the Jordan to go to possess it. I call the heavens and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, both you and your seed, that both you and your seed may live, that you may love Yahuah Eloheka, and that you may obey his voice, and that you may cleave unto him. For he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers, Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, to give to them. All right, now line 12. Isaiah 65:12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer, and when I spoke, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Now let's get a better look at what is being said here. In Isaiah 28, lines 9 through 23. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little. For with foreign lips and another tongue he will speak to this people, to whom he said, This is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing. Yet they would not hear. But the word of Yahuah was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. Wherefore hear the word of Yahuah, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem, because ye have said, we have cut a covenant with death, and with Sheol are we at an agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuah, Behold, I lay Sion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believes shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with Sheol shall not stand. Then ye shall be trodden down by it. Oh, and when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall not be trodden down by it. From the time that it goes forth, it shall not take you. For morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report. For the bed is shorter than the man that can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than he that can wrap himself in it. For Yahuah shall rise up in Mount Perasim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Givon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Now therefore, be ye not mockers, lest your bands be made strong. For I have heard from Adonai Yahuah Sebaoth a consumption, even determined upon the whole earth. Give ye ear, and hear my voice, hearken, and hear my speech. Those who are drawn from the breast, and weaned from milk, who shall obtain knowledge and understand doctrine. The seed the Most High is raising up right now. Like I said earlier, let me go get my charger. My phone just hit 5%, and I will cry if my phone dies, because I will have to do all this over again. Give me just a minute, guys.
Did you find out Bobby Christmas ring?
678.
So who won your stupid pool?
Bailey.
Bailey? Is she betting you fool? After all of that? Hypocrisy. There's no things in there.
All right, and I'm going to have to relocate you guys so we can finish, because my charger cord is not very long, so it doesn't stretch very far. Move you guys over here with me. There we go. Alright, we're almost finished, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Almost done. Okay, where was I? So, like I said earlier, a lot of us are babies in this walk, like little children. So we must have precept upon precept and line upon line. And not stand up straight. Stay. With a foreign language and a strange tongue shall he speak to another people, to where he said, I will cause the weary to rest and give you refreshing. Brothers and sisters, his word is the refreshing. It is healing. It makes the simple wise and gives the understanding heart knowledge. His word is good for the soul, and it is true. But the people before, they wouldn't hear. Instead, they fell backward, and they were broken and snared and taken. So hear the word of Yahuah, you scornful men. You have cut a covenant with death and Sheol. The word will be a stumbling block for you because of your lack of understanding. They have made lies their refuge, and they have hid in falsehood. So Yahuah said, Behold, I lay a stone in Sion, a foundation stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. Yahusha. Yahushua HaMashiach is our chief cornerstone. Because the children wouldn't hearken to his word, and the sins of the world were so grievous, Yahuah sent his only son as a final sin offering for the world. Judgment will he lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. Your covenant with death will be disannulled, and your agreement with Sheol will no longer stand. Yahushua will take that away from us. It will only vex those who have not heard the report, those who haven't been watching and waiting on Yahuah. Yahuah will rise up to his mountain. Oh, hold on, I gotta move this thing so I can speak a little closer. I feel like I'm so far away from you guys. Okay. It says Yahuah will rise up to the mountain, and he will be wroth in the valley that the battle of Armageddon takes place. That Yahuah may do his work and pass his act, that he may pass judgment and lay waste to the wicked. Therefore, don't be mockers unless you want your band to be made strong. The whole earth will be consumed. Give ear, hear his voice, and hearken to his speech. All right, finally, we are on to lines 13 through 15, and then we're going to stop for tonight. Isaiah 65, 13 through 15. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuah, Behold my servants. Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of the heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of the Ruach, the Spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for Adonai Yahuah shall slay you, and call his servants by another name. Now, these we're actually going to go over all together, because these kind of just knit together, so it's just easier to go over them all at once. So let's begin in the book of 2 Esdras. 2 Esdras 1, 24 through 37. We read this earlier. It says, What shall I do unto you, O Yaakov, you, Yehudah, who would not obey me? I will turn me to other nations, and unto those will I give my name, that they may guard my statutes. Seeing ye have forsaken me, I will forsake you also. When you desire me to be gracious unto you, I shall have no mercy upon you. When you shall call upon me, I will not hear you. And I want to say, too, we can read, I think it's in Proverbs chapter 4, maybe? I think it's somewhere in Proverbs chapter 4. It says, He who turns his ear from hearing the Torah, even his prayer is an abomination. So, for you have defiled your hands with blood, and your feet are swift to commit manslaughter. Ye have not, as it were, forsaken me, but your own selves, says Yahuah. Thus says El Shaddai Yahuah, Have I not prayed you as a father his sons, and as a mother her daughters, and as a nurse her young babes, that ye would be my people, and I should be your Elohim, that ye would be my children, and I should be your father. I gathered you together as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? Oh, excuse me. I will turn my face from you, for your solemn feast days, and your new moons, and your circumcisions have I forsaken. I sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will require of your hands, says Yahuah. Thus says El Shaddai Yahuah, Your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind does stubble, and your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment, and done the thing that is evil before me. Your house will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me, to whom I have shown no signs, yet shall do the things that I command them. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in Ruach they believe the thing that I say. We talked about this at the beginning of the message. Because the children wouldn't obey Yahuah, he turned to other nations, whoever was going to obey him. And he gave them his name, and they guard his statutes. And those who wouldn't listen, he will forsake you. And when you ask for grace, he won't hear you. You have defiled your hands with blood, and your feet with murder. You haven't forsaken me, says Yahuah, but you have forsaken yourselves. Have I not been a father to you, and nursed you as a mother nurses her babes? I gathered you as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. Now he said, I turned my face from your feast days and your new moons and your circumcisions. I have forsaken them, because they weren't doing it because they loved Yahuah. They were doing it because they had to, or to boast about it. I sent prophets to you, and you killed them. Their blood I will require at your hand. Your house is desolate, and your children shall not be fruitful. They have despised my commandments to do evil before me. Your house I will give to a people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they haven't seen him with their eyes, yet in Ruach, in spirit, they believe the things that he says. This is us, brothers and sisters, those who haven't seen our Messiah with bodily eyes, yet in spirit we do believe his report, his testimony. And this next passage talks about the law and the bondwoman. And a lot of people like to say that the law is done away, but let's read this. Galatians 4, lines 1 through 31. We're going to read all of Galatians 4. So, yeah, we're almost done, guys. We're so close. Let me get some drink.
Importantly, I'm a lady. And a lady does not show the walls.
Now, I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differs nothing from a servant, though he be Adonai of all, but he is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. Even so, we, when we were children, were in bondage by the elements of the world. But when the fullness of the time was come, Elohim sent forth his Son, to who was born of a woman and subject to the law, to redeem them that were under the law. And being under the law means to be living in sin. You're not obeying the law. Who did he redeem? It says to redeem them that were under the law. He came to redeem the sinners, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because ye are sons, Elohim has sent forth the Ruach of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Wherefore you are no more a servant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of Elohim through Mashiach. Howbeit then, when ye know not Elohim, ye did service unto him, which by nature are not Elohim. But now ye do ye not know Elohim? Or rather, are ye not known by Elohim? How turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements? Do ye desire again to be in bondage? You observe days and months and times and years. I am afraid for you, lest I have bestowed upon you labor in vain. And I want to say, he was talking about the pagan days and feasts and new moons and all that. I mean, Yahuah is not going to hate his days that he created himself. He doesn't hate his own feast days and his Shabbat. He's not talking about the things he created. He's talking about the things man created. Brethren, I beseech you, be as I am, for I am as ye are. Ye have not injured me at all. Ye know how though in infirmity of the flesh I preached the Besorah unto you at the first. And my temptation, which was in my flesh, ye despised not, nor rejected, but received me as an angel of Elohim, even as Messiah Yahusha. Where is then the blessedness ye spoke of? For I bear you record that if it had been possible, ye would have plucked out your own eyes and have given them to me. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? What is the truth again? Psalms 119, 142. They zealously affect you, but not well. Yea, they would exclude you, that ye might affect them. But it is good to be zealously affected anyways in a good thing, and not only when I am present with you. My little children, of whom I travail in birth again until Mashiach be formed in you. I desire to be present with you now and change my voice, for I stand in doubt of you. Tell me, ye that desire to be under the law, do you not hear and obey the law? For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, that one by a bondmaid and other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, and he of the free woman was by promise. And actually, I'm not going to finish the rest of that, because remember, we talked about that. Ishmael, he was not born of the promise. He was born for destruction and to live by the sword. And Isaac was the chosen. He was the son of the promise. So, next is 2 Esdras 2, 1 through 7. Thus says Adonai Yahuah, I brought this people out of bondage, and I gave them my commandments by manservants the prophets, whom they would not hear, but despised my counsels. The mother that bore them says unto them, Go your way, ye children, for I am a widow and forsaken. I brought you up with gladness, but with sorrow and heaviness I have lost you. For ye have sinned before Yahuah Elohim, and done the thing which is evil before him. But what shall I now do unto you? I am a widow and forsaken. Go your way, O my children, and ask mercy of Yahuah. As for me, O Father, I call upon you for a witness over the mother. of these children, which would not guard my covenant, that you bring to them confusion and their mother to a spoil, that there may be no offspring of them. Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant. And lastly, Galatians 3:26-29. For ye are all the children of Elohim by faith in Mashiach Yahusha. For as many have been baptized into Mashiach and have put on Mashiach, there is neither Yahudi nor Yavani, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Yahusha HaMashiach. And if ye belong to Mashiach, then ye are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Remember this, brothers and sisters. You are Israel. If you have repented and confessed all your heart, and you truly follow our Messiah, then you are Abraham's seed, and you are heirs according to the promise. All right. That concludes this week's message. We will finish the rest of 65 during next week's series finale, and we will do like just a little brief recap of chapter 65 to just kind of get back up to speed on where we are. And remember, there's no Torah portion this week, and there won't be until I return. Let's go ahead and close this up with a prayer, guys. Yahuah, we come before you with humble spirits and hearts that desire understanding. We desire to be refreshed and healed by your word. Guide us in instruction and in truth, Abba. Allow your Ruach to come down and fill your people. Lift the Ruach of deep sleep and open their eyes and ears, and allow them to rightly divide your truth. Take away the proud, puffed-up egos and replace them with humble, contrite spirits. Remember your people, O Yahuah, and guard us in the hour of calamity. In Yahusha's name we pray. Amen. All right, guys. I will see you again next week. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat and Shalom.